In moments of intense conflict, people instinctively search for meaning, turning to signs in the heavens, to strange coincidences, or to ancient texts, as if the universe itself were sending warnings. Today, as Israel and Iran descend deeper into confrontation, many across the globe find themselves looking not just at missiles and diplomacy, but at omens, strange lights in the sky, prophecies long forgotten, and symbols that feel uncomfortably close to fulfillment. Since June 13, 2025, Israel has launched a sweeping aerial campaign against Iran's nuclear and missile infrastructure. Strategic targets such as Natanz, Iraq, and the recently uncovered Khandab heavy water facility have all been struck. Beneath the visible conflict lies a darker, quieter war. Intelligence reports point to Mossad operating a covert drone base deep within Iranian territory, adding a shadowy layer to the already complex warfare. In retaliation, Iran has responded with force, firing hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones into Israeli cities. The toll of this hybrid war continues to grow, with rising casualties and a growing sense of dread. Diplomatic efforts persist, but with every passing day, they seem to lose ground to escalation. Amid this backdrop of violence and uncertainty, people are reporting what they perceive to be strange signs, some in the heavens, others on earth. Skywatchers and religious observers, particularly in Christian prophetic communities, have pointed out a series of blood moons and lunar eclipses earlier this year. These celestial events, curiously aligned with major Jewish religious festivals, have ignited widespread discussion. A particularly striking blood moon appeared on the night of Purim, a holiday commemorating Jewish survival against Persian threats. To many, this was no coincidence. It felt like a divine signal echoing across time. Others have turned to scripture for context, searching for parallels between modern warfare and ancient prophecy. The book of Ezekiel speaks of Persia rising against Israel, while the Gospel of Luke describes natural upheavals as precursors to the end of days. These interpretations are not universally accepted and remain deeply speculative, but they offer spiritual frameworks through which believers attempt to process a world in disarray. For everyday people caught in the path of destruction, the war itself feels symbolic. In cities like Tel Aviv and Tehran, the sound of air raid sirens, the sudden flash of explosions, and the black smoke curling above the skyline stir something ancient in the collective mind. It is as if legends and warnings once passed down in sacred texts are being played out in real time. The sheer intensity of these experiences, frightening, surreal, and deeply emotional, leads many to wonder whether there is more to all of this than politics or military strategy. Why do people seek omens in times like these? Chaos brings a kind of blindness, and in that darkness, human beings crave patterns. When bombs fall and borders burn, the search for signs becomes a way to reclaim a sense of control. Omens, whether drawn from the stars or scripture, allow individuals to believe that something larger is at work, that there is purpose behind the pain. Cultural tradition also fuels this tendency. In both Jewish and Christian belief systems, natural phenomena like eclipses, earthquakes, or unusual celestial alignments have long been viewed as divine messages or warnings. On a psychological level, interpreting events as part of a prophetic timeline gives people a way to process fear and uncertainty, turning helplessness into meaning. Yet it is also important to hold these interpretations in balance. Blood moons, for instance, are well understood astronomical events. They are awe-inspiring, yes, but scientifically natural, products of shadow and light, not divine wrath. Still, for those steeped in prophetic belief, these events carry enormous symbolic power. Meaning, in this case, is not embedded in the stars themselves, but in the eyes of those who watch them. In the fog of war, sober analysis remains essential. Political decisions, military strategies, and diplomatic developments must not be overshadowed by myth or metaphor. Not everyone sees signs in the same way. Some interpret these events as cosmic warnings, others as consequences of human failure, of political miscalculation, moral breakdown, or geopolitical ambition. The divide is as much philosophical as it is religious. Even so, the world watches with unease as this conflict unfolds. Israel's campaign continues. Iran promises fierce retaliation. Ayatollah Khamenei has declared that the battle begins, as if this moment marks the crossing of some irreversible threshold. And throughout it all, through fire and smoke, through scripture and science, many continue to look skyward. Blood-red moons, ancient verses, thunder in the distance, these may be seen as prophecy, poetry, or coincidence. But perhaps the most telling sign of all is this universal human instinct to search for meaning, even in the darkest of times. And maybe that longing, that refusal to surrender to meaninglessness, is the truest omen of all.